And now the Gospel for the fourth Sunday of Ordinary Time. It is from the book of Mark, chapter 1, verses 21 through 28. Then they came to Capernaum, and on the Sabbath Jesus entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. In their synagogue was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked him and said, "Quiet, come out of him." The unclean spirit convulsed him, and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority? He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." His fame spread everywhere throughout the region of Galilee. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Here we see Jesus teaching with authority, not like the scribes. He taught having authority. Even the unclean spirits obeyed him. And it's interesting because the unclean spirit calls out Jesus' name. So what have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. This is again the idea of knowledge, knowing who Jesus is. The unclean spirit is trying to assert a power over Jesus through that knowledge. That knowledge in the Bible it means power. It means having a power. And Jesus silences him. Quiet, come out of him. Rebukes the unclean spirit. Right? So even Jesus speaks with an authority that even the demons obey. Jesus is the true prophet, but he's more than a prophet. He is priest, prophet, and king. He is the Messiah, the promised one from God. The scribes and the Pharisees are watching, and they're trying to figure out, who is this Jesus? Is he from God? And so they're applying the test to see if he's a prophet. Does he speak the truth? Yes, he does. Does he obey the law? That they question. Is he like Moses? The third question, yes. He is like Moses. Miracles are worked through him. Okay, and he is God, so he's the one actually working the miracle. He intercedes for people. He speaks with authority, delivers the message from God. But the sticking point for the scribes is, does he follow the law? And they thought, here he is healing someone on the Sabbath. Well, you're supposed to rest on the Sabbath, right? Jesus broke man's law, but he did not break God's law. God's law about the Sabbath, Jesus follows. But what they did was, they put in all these laws, man-made laws that around God's law to protect people so they wouldn't even get close to breaking God's law. And some of those laws have become a burden to the people. And Jesus broke those laws in order to preserve God's law. God's will isn't suspended simply because it's the Sabbath. Healing, curing, helping people, all that's still required of us on the Sabbath, right? The Sabbath is a gift, as Jesus said. God made the Sabbath for man, not man for the Sabbath. Sabbath is a great gift so that we can get closer to God, commune with God, rest from our daily labors. But God's will is not suspended. He still wants us to help each other, to love each other, to be kind to each other, to heal and cure. As Jesus was God, he could make miracles happen. All of that does not simply disappear because it's a Sabbath. And that's what the Pharisees and scribes were getting wrong. Jesus wasn't violating God's law. He was violating man's law in order to preserve God's law. And so Jesus was and is the Messiah. And he taught with authority, as this reading displays. God was right. Sometimes we get it a little bit wrong. And when we do that, thank God that he comes to us and allows us to go to the sacrament of reconciliation and receive forgiveness. So God bless all of you, and hopefully you join me next Tuesday for the fifth Sunday of Ordinary Time. All right?